So with only 2 weeks until the championship gets back underway, what I thought we'd do for today's video is hop onto FIFA 20, simulate the upcoming season on FIFA, with all the transfers that have been made so far and everything like that, see what they get as their outcome, and then next week I'll be making my own predictions, and then come the end of the season, we'll see who was more accurate, FIFA or me. Just before we do hop into anything though, a big shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. As always, you can find the new OneFootball app in the top line of the description down below. Over the summer they went ahead and redeveloped the app, and it's looking really fresh now heading into this new championship year. So if you want to keep updated with everything, transfer rumours, latest articles around your clubs, the stats, and get live updates to your phone whenever a goal does go in for the championship, then OneFootball is the place to be. Honestly, we've got so much going on around the league at the moment that it is pretty hard to keep up to date with it all in one place. I try my best to keep you guys updated, but even that, sometimes I still struggle. But without any further ado, let's hop into this FIFA simulation. So as you can see now, if we do take a look through the championship, all the clubs that will be competing this season. Now, there's a few clubs where I'm interested to see where FIFA places them, one of which being Sheffield Wednesday will add that 12-point deduction, so we'll see if FIFA has them staying up or not. As well as that, I mean, each of the relegated sides are of course going to be strong on this year's game. We're still waiting to see who else is going to depart from those clubs as well. Norwich have been one side so far, probably out of the 3 relegated clubs, who seem to be the most prepared coming into this season. I think even when they were promoted to the Premier League, Norwich had that plan of, if we do go down, we're going to know how to bounce straight back up. They've been very busy in their recruitment so far. Forest on the other side, who I think are looking particularly strong at the moment with the business that they have done. So hey, we'll see where each club does finish. I may as well go in as the Preston manager, won't we? We'll advance there. So like I said, I'm very interested to see where each side finishes in this one. So right now at this point in time, this is of course the championship table. In terms of the clubs who are probably going to struggle in this FIFA simulation, each of the relegated clubs probably going to find it tough coming up to the championship. Each of them have made a few signings so far, which I have added into the side, so we'll see how they do. Rotherham so far probably adding the most, you'd say, like championship experience out of each of them, so you may edge them to do the best in this simulation, I'm not so sure. QPR always seems to be one club who struggles whenever it comes to FIFA. If you watch my video where we rounded up all of FIFA's results from last year's, obviously I simulate every match as the season goes on. QPR they were awful last season by FIFA's predictions, and obviously now Eze's left as well, another one that will probably be harshly judged by this one. But hey, we'll wait and see. Those are my predictions going into, obviously I'm the Preston manager, this is what the North End squad is looking like at the moment, but we may as well just go in and simulate this one. So we'll be going all the way to the end of the season. I'm not going to be having any input into this or anything like that, and then when we get back to it, that'll be my first reaction to it. So here we go, the simulation has begun. I'll see you guys in a minute. And so here we are, the simulation has now been done now. I'm a little bit nervous to see where FIFA's placed everyone, especially my side, North End, but I've not been sacked, so hopefully that's a bit of a good omen from things to come, so we'll hop into it. My manager rating's already not looking great. I can see where Preston have finished, but let's go ahead and scroll down to the bottom and then work our way upwards. So the bottom 3, Coventry going down on a measly 23 points. After that we got Wickham on 26 and then Luton on 28. So like I did say at the beginning of the video, my prediction was right. Rotherham are the club out of the promoted 3 who do just about survive on 31 points. So the threshold for survival really wasn't a lot on this FIFA simulation. If we look back on last season, probably it was the most competitive at the bottom than it's been for a lot of years really. The points on to stay up last season was ridiculously high, but Rotherham do manage to stay up. I'd be interested to know from you guys right now, with all the signings that have been made, who would be the 3 clubs who you'd be throwing into that bottom 3. Obviously Sheffield Wednesday here, absolutely nowhere to be seen. They're all the way up in 8th place, finishing on 81 points, so the points deduction is irrelevant to them going down on this one. But I think each of the 3 clubs that were promoted from League One last season, everyone's waiting to see how they go ahead and start the season out by. Luton are a side who I'd imagine maybe a few people may be throwing them into that bracket, but I think that they did so well after lockdown under Nathan Jones that I think he'll have something up his sleeve. I think they've still got a bit of recruitment that they need to do for this window, but if they do get that spot on, there's nothing to suggest why they can't build on how strong they finished last season. Moving upwards from that then, QPR 20th, so another one that I did call. I thought they'd be quite poor on FIFA as they usually are for whatever reason, but obviously the loss of Eze is going to take quite a bit out of that side. We're still waiting for them to really reinvest that money into other areas of the squad, and when they do that, their team will be a lot stronger. Barnsley 19, so they build on their finish from last season. I think that Barnsley have done some decent recruitment so far. It's a good young group of players they've got in there. They also finished last season well. Millwall down in 18th is way too low for me. Millwall are one of those sides who have that clear identity about them. I think they've had a fantastic transfer window so far under Gary Rowett. a really solid championship squad. I think they'll be mixing it in and around the top 6 next season. I really do. Been really impressed with them so far. Middlesbrough are an interesting one because I think that a lot of people see the charm in Neil Warnock and what he can get out of this group of players at Middlesbrough. I'm still of the opinion that they need to do quite a bit more business in this window if they do want to seriously go ahead and push on next season, but they've got, you know, one of the most capable managers in the Championship in terms of getting your side out, getting you into a solid rigid system, and I think they'll have a solid season, Middlesbrough. I'd back them to maybe be a little bit higher than 17th, but they do need a little bit more investment into that squad. Derby 16th, that surprised me a little bit. I think their squad's a lot stronger than that. I think they'll be mixing it around the top 6 next season. A lot of good youngsters. It's a good blend of experience and youth in that squad at the moment. Huddersfield, very much a side in 15th who have got quite a few unknowns coming into this season. New manager coming in there. Very much a new identity and way of playing from them having the Cowleys there last season, so we'll see how they get on. Birmingham in 14th, I'd say is fairly reasonable for this part of the season. You know, Karanka, I think the majority of Championship fans agree that that was a sensible appointment. They've done a fair bit of business so far, but still got a little bit more to do as well. You know, goalkeeper being the obvious one at the moment, but the signs they made so far, quite a few attacking signings, so you'd imagine they will be scoring a few more goals next season. Bristol City in 13th, another interesting one, another new manager coming into the league as well. Swansea in 12th. Swansea really could be geared up for a decent season next time. If they get a striker, then their recruitment in this summer so far, I think, will have been looking really promising, especially if they keep hold of AU as well. Blackburn 11th, I think, is fairly reasonable for where they're at the moment as well. I think they'll be a side who could easily push on for the top 6. Kaminsky looks like a really good signing. They just need to sort out that back line now. Stoke in 10th, another fairly reasonable one. I think that most people expect them to be much better than last season. They got off to a horrific start last time round, but the recruitment there has been targeted. It's been quite sensible so far. A wealth of Championship experience in that squad. Cardiff in 9th, I'd be back in there maybe to finish a little bit higher than that. Neil Harris done some really good things so far. Like the recruitment, Kiefer Moore I think is an excellent signing. Probably, I mean, there's been a few surprises in here, but for me, one of the most surprising is Sheffield Wednesday all the way in 8th place. Now, when I was making the transfers coming into this one in terms of players who have come in and left, Sheffield Wednesday have had a whole bunch of players who were like released at the end of the season, came towards the end of their contracts and things like that. So I'm interested to see who were the star performers in this Sheffield Wednesday squad, which accumulated 81 points. We then have my side North End finishing in 7th place, missing out on the playoffs by 2 points. I mean, that would be typical North End, wasn't it? We've finished in 7th before under Alex Neil, so who's not to say it'll happen again. I do think we will be in this region of the table. If we can go that one step further, for me, depends on what we do with our recruitment. You know, we're one of few Championship clubs who have yet to make a signing so far. We need to get a number 9 over the line. Then heading into the top 6 though, this is how it's shaping up. I mean, wow, we got AFC Bournemouth coming in with 112 points, so smashing the point record for the Championship previously held by Reading. Norwich actually go ahead and match that 106 there as they pick up, but I mean, no real surprises there. Two of the relegated clubs, two of the strongest sides on FIFA at the moment. They were always going to go on and absolutely smash it, but the rest of this top 6 makes for interesting reading. So Brentford are in there. They'll undoubtedly be one of the favourites coming into this season. They finish on 84 points. Reading, probably the biggest shock we've seen so far here, in 5th place. Reading are another club with a few unknowns coming into this season, a new manager. Don't get me wrong, I think there's a whole bunch of potential in that squad. I think that they've got, if they keep all of their strikers fit this season, I think they've got 3 at least who can get into double figures. Really good midfield, especially with Ajari signing an opponent now as well. But Reading are just such an inconsistent club that you never know what to expect from them. Watford in 4th is, I mean, yeah, that one was to be expected, really, another of the relegated clubs. And then Nottingham Forest finishing in 3rd place on 95 points. Now, their recruitment so far, I think, has been really quite good actually. It'll be interesting to know from you guys, from reading this table, who are the sides in there who you're most surprised about where they finished in your club. I want to know in the comments down below from where they finished on this table. Do you think that's a realistic finish or not? Do you think you'd be higher or lower? Because I mean, there's definitely some curveballs in here. We will come back to this at the end of the season. Then if we look into the playoffs, so we have Forest against Brentford, where Forest walked away 3-1 on aggregate, progressing to the final. Then Watford against Reading, where it was Reading winning 2-1, and then promoted to the Premier League was Nottingham Forest, 2-1 at Wembley, beating Reading. So Nottingham Forest Norwich and Bournemouth have been promoted according to the FIFA simulation. If we then take a bit of a look at the top scorers, I mean, Callum Wilson are absolutely smashing the Championship goal record, I think, with 36 goals. I think the most of players ever scored in the Championship. I believe Glenn Murray still holds the record, doesn't he? So Callum Wilson absolutely smashing it. Probably going to end up leaving in real life, but I mean, if he does stay, wow, he could absolutely rip it up. AU for Swansea, 27 goals. Daniel Johnson up there with 25. With that, we now know why Sheffield Wednesday did so well, because they managed to rekindle Jordan Rhodes into a 20-goal a season striker. He got 24. Pookie obviously up there, and Beamer for Brentford with 23. Nuno da Costa's an interesting one for Nottingham Forest. Here are the other top scorers that you can look at. Scott Sinclair up there for North End's an interesting one. We may as well, while we're here as well, take a look at League One and the Premier League to see how the clubs from last season that got promoted and relegated got on. So winning the Premier League was Man City. Being relegated, interestingly enough here, only one of the promoted sides got relegated. That was Fulham, who finished bottom on 25 points. Then Villa came back down alongside Burnley. We then had Leeds finishing in 16th and West Brom in 15th. So both of them surviving on this simulation, which I find quite interesting. If we go ahead and look at League One as well. So Hull have been able to immediately bounce back. They finished second in League One. Portsmouth going on to win it. Charlton finishing in 6th. That's quite League One next season is looking quite strong, isn't it? And then Wigan were the worst off, finishing in 11th. So all very interesting, I have to say. But guys, there we have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. So you've seen FIFA's predictions for this upcoming season. Coming up next week is when I will be predicting the Championship season. It's going to be a tough one to do while the transfer window is still open, but I'll give it my best shot, and then come the end of the season we'll revisit this video alongside my predictions to see who got them the more accurate. But guys, if you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Now we are really ramping up to this new Championship season. The content is just going to be continuing to come out. So thanks to you so much for all the support you've shown on the channel recently. If you are new around here and you'd like to see more Championship content, then make sure to stick around and subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.